Welcome to the Wellness Abundance Podcast. I'm Melissa King, your podcast host, certified master health coach, certified personal trainer, and founder of Wellness Abundance Coaching. The purpose of this podcast is to share healthy lifestyle tips to empower you to design the abundant life you want and deserve. I'll chat with inspiring people who have built a strong foundation to build a life they love. I believe we all have the power within ourselves to create wellness abundance in all areas of our life. We simply need to find the courage within ourselves to take action. Our vision for this podcast is to help you create wellness abundance in your life with clarity, empowerment, and flexibility. Grab your favorite beverage and enjoy the episode. My guest on today's episode is my friend and health coach colleague, Kelyn Griffin of Southern Primal. Kelyn is an amazing woman who truly lives by example when it comes to a paleo-friendly lifestyle. In this episode, we dive deep into Kelyn's personal journey about how she was introduced to the paleo lifestyle, what keeps her moving forward, and how simple it is to create healthier versions of your favorite meals at home. She also shares her area of expertise when it comes to working with her clients. I'm super excited for you to listen to my fun conversation with Kelyn of Southern Primal. Okay, awesome. Welcome, Kelyn. I'm so excited that you have taken the time to join me today. So welcome to the Wellness Abundance Podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me, Melissa. I am so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited that you're here too. So just a really quick background on Kelyn, how Kelyn and I met. So Kelyn and I both went through the Primal Health Coach Institute health coaching program. We didn't go through it at the same time. We actually connected at one of the live master classes in Austin, Texas, and we were actually paired in the three-way coaching practice. And we just had kind of like this instant connection. And the last, almost 4 years. Wow.
Oh
Can
my
you believe
goodness.
it?
Yes.
It's been
4
that
years.
long.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Time flies so fast. Yeah. So we connected there and just like developed this kind of like instant friendship and have stayed in touch since then and really just supported each other. Not just through our health coaching journey, but as individuals, as women, still, working on, creating these healthy lifestyle habits, which we'll dive into a little bit more throughout this episode. But it's really, I'll just say this one quick thing and then I'll have Kelyn introduce herself. But it's really just so important to have that support system, even if you're like, I have this strong foundation of healthy habits that work really well for me. Just keep that strong support system. And actually, there's some things I want to share that Kelyn and I have done over the last 3 years later on in the podcast that I feel have really helped me. All right. So Kelyn, tell us a little bit about like how your paleo primal journey began.
Oh, goodness. So it began a long time ago, about 15 years ago is probably about when it began. So growing up, I was never really like a super active kid or anything. I liked, being quiet and reading and, just playing to myself. So, eat snacks and everything. So I was a little overweight kid. And so I always wanted to live a better lifestyle. I just didn't know how. And so whenever I was in college, I kind of, discovered other things from meeting new people. And so I began walking and eating better. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I love this. And so I just started reading more about it and finding new recipes and everything. And so started losing weight, started to become physically active, which I love so much. And so when I was graduating college, I started working out in a gym and I just got so strong. And it was like just amazing to see what your body can do. And I think that's kind of why I love working out, is just to be like, yeah, I just did that. And that's really cool to me. Mm-hmm. So at about that time is whenever like CrossFit was coming up. And so I'm like, what is this? And so I had a friend who was starting to do CrossFit, and they like, yeah, you work out and all this kind of stuff, but like this is a whole nother level. So I found like the nearest CrossFit gym was like an hour from me. So I'm like, okay, I will try this out. And I just fell in love with it. Like, cause that just takes, the what your body can do to a whole different level. And so I started going to classes a few times a week. And that's how I discovered paleo, is because they kind of went hand in hand with the box that I was at. And so we did a paleo challenge. And so it wasn't about really losing, so much weight. It was more about like, inches. And so I won for the women. And then that just kind of like just sealed it for me, is that so it began to learn how to eat better, cut out like the processed foods and things like that. And then once I discovered paleo, it was okay, this is, using food to not only, to eat or anything like that, but to nourish your body and to heal it. And so I definitely noticed a difference. Even though I thought I was eating healthier before, I definitely noticed a difference in my health after I started doing paleo. And so after that, I just started reading more, finding recipes and things like that. And I just really enjoyed that lifestyle. And so here I am today.
Awesome. 15 years later. Awesome. It's so fascinating to me. I love learning how people were introduced to the paleo lifestyle. And there's so many people I meet that have a similar story to yours, where they were at CrossFit or at a different gym. Mostly CrossFit though, because CrossFit is all about paleo. A lot of CrossFit gyms, are all focused on the paleo lifestyle. So I love also that it was a challenge that you did at your gym, and that starts a lot, because really all you need is so many people just need that little push, that little nudge to really go really, really hard for a short period of time to really start seeing results. So I want to dive in a little bit more about, because I really like what you said, where they were focusing more on losing inches rather than actual weight. Can you talk a little bit more about the benefits of that?
Yeah, because like, even though you might feel like, oh wow, I only lost a pound or anything, or 2 pounds or 3 pounds or anything, and you might get discouraged with that. But whenever you just focus on other things, so like let's use the inches for example, you realize that yeah, it's nice to lose weight too, but that's not always important, because if you're working out with it, that can kind of give you, a falseness about it. So when you focus on the inches, it's like, okay, well, incorporating this eating better with this fitness is actually, yeah, my body is transforming. That it's not just about the weight or anything. Yeah, I probably did lose some weight with it. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I never stepped on the scale, because that was part of the thing, is that you don't weigh yourself. So I'm sure I did, but it was much more transformational for me to lose the inches, because like, my clothes started feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
And, for most of us, it's like, I rather see, a difference in my clothes size than the scale size. So, what, if I, weigh 130 pounds, but, I'm a different size, that's what I would prefer than to be 110 pounds. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm totally with you. When I'm working with someone, I am not a big fan of using the scale as you know as a method of measurement. I'm a big fan of how your clothes fit, and then yeah, measuring inches if that works for you. Because there's really just this huge misconception with that the number on the scale has to go down, because muscle is denser than fat.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So 5 pounds of muscle is going to look way different.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to look a lot leaner, because that's what it is. It's lean muscle tissue, than fat. 5 pounds of fat is going to be this huge pile, this huge pile of just like blubber, you
Yep.
know. So that
Mm-hmm.
definitely, yeah, makes a big difference. So you mentioned you've just really enjoyed like trying new recipes. And I know you and I have exchanged recipes before, and I know you remember you told me the sloppy joe's one. I will
Oh
never
yeah,
forget that one. And I
it is
haven't,
so good.
it's really good. And I always geek out on like recipe articles online. And I actually saw a sloppy joe's one couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I got to make that sloppy joe's recipe Kelyn sent me again, because I haven't made it for a couple years. So, but that one's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so after you really, you were making this, you made this transformation, you noticed your body literally transforming
Right.
and changing, because that's what our
Mhm.
bodies do when we do something different in our life, whether it be eating more, eating less, exercising more, exercising less, whatever it is, our bodies change. So what was the real motivator to help you keep going? And the reason I ask this is because, I've been in the coaching field for a while now, and I've noticed that there's I follow up with my former coaching clients, and not a lot of them, but some of them will tell me, oh, I kind of fell off the bandwagon. I went back to just eating all the processed food, the fast food. It was just too hard. So, how did you find the motivation within yourself to just keep moving forward with this lifestyle?
Sure. So, um, so after I kind of discovered paleo and everything like that, and I noticed how I felt when I ate real whole foods, that's kind of when I discovered that I probably did have some sensitivities to dairy and to gluten and things like that. And so, went through like this elimination diet to be like, okay, is this real? What's going on? And so I've never been tested or anything like that, but I just know how I feel when I eat too much of that. And so probably like a few years after I started paleo and discovered all this kind of stuff, I moved a lot and I was working a lot. And so of course I fell off the wagon too, and I started eating more processed and everything, and I just felt so bad. And all the like physical progress that I felt like I had made, I like got lost. And so, it is a bit discouraging. And it's like I then I also just kind of felt that, life was living me instead of like I was living my life. And that,
Mm,
sometimes you're like, oh my goodness, where did this week go by? Like, I did not want my life to be like that. I want to be intentional about everything that I do. And so that's just kind of when I'm like, I have to make a change and go back. Like, I can't keep being like this, because I want to add some purpose into my life. And so I didn't feel like I had that. And so, working 6 days a week, it is hard, but I was trying to be more intentional. So, and I'm still not perfect at this, but for me, it's about planning. And so I know how my week is going to be. I know how busy I'm supposed to be. And so making intentions and planning. And that's kind of what helped keeps me in line, is that, I know that if I slip up and everything like that, it's fine. I can start again tomorrow, but I don't need to let that to be a downward spiral or anything. And so when I can plan things, that's what helps me. And so I guess, sorry, to really answer the questions, what the motivator is that, just I want to live a better life. And so I don't want to feel crappy. And, I want to be able to do the things that I want to do. And so I know that living a primal lifestyle, that I get the best life for me.
mhm. Yeah, and I love that. When I work with my clients, like the first thing we work on is your why. Like, what's your motivation? Like capital WHY. Like,
Right.
what's your motivation? What really drives you? And you mentioned that, I can't remember the exact phrase you said, but like your life was living you, and you
Right.
wanted to live your life. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
got it right. Yay. I love that. I think that's fantastic, because I found, and I was like this for years, for probably decades, where I was just kind of floating around in life and just kind of going with the flow a little bit too much. I mean, I still have some type A in me and like to be in control, but I was allowing my life to run me rather than taking control of it. And so I can totally relate to your story because that's exactly how I felt too. You know,
Mhm.
seeing these results and just experiencing them, you know, feeling like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, how much energy. I have so much energy. You know, I feel good and I'm eating delicious food and it's nutritious.
Yeah.
Like, how can you go wrong with that?
Mhm.
You know, it's all a win-win. Um, so you mentioned planning a lot. So really planning your meals, planning your schedule, or planning your meals around your schedule, you know, was really sounds like that was one of the biggest game changers for, you know, living this lifestyle because it's not easy to do. You know,
No. Hmm.
it's not easy, and that's why you and I do what we do. That's why we help our that's what basically what we help our clients do is we help them make this process of implementing healthy lifestyle habits just a little bit easier and to where it just eventually will become much more effortless. So besides planning, like what other um actually, first of all, let's actually dive into like, so you said you mentioned you were moving a lot and you were working a lot. So what other obstacles got in your way when you were quote unquote falling off the bandwagon?
Oh, good question. So I felt like I was always reacting to everything that was coming at me. And so I guess I know I keep kind of going back to it. I guess that's why planning was just so big for me is that, 8 o'clock me is very different to 5 o'clock me. And so
Hmm.
if I can set up my day better, then
Yeah.
then 5 o'clock me is going to be much more thankful for that. So just kind of it could be from anything of where, it was, oh, I didn't expect to hit traffic on the way home. And so now I'm home at 6 o'clock. And guess what? Now I'm super tired and I don't want to cook dinner tonight. So what am
Hmm.
I going to do? And so, fast foods restaurants are not very paleo friendly. And so it was things like that. Like, wasn't, um, it wasn't intentional. So like intentional and planning for me were really big things for when I'm really busy. Um, and like not that I didn't have support from people or anything, but it's kind of like I don't feel like people always understand or anything
Hmm.
like that. They like, oh, well, we can just go out for this and we can do this, or why are you doing this? I and I don't think they were being rude or ugly to me or anything like that. It's just because this wasn't at the time so like norm or understood and everything is people didn't quite get it. And now
Hmm.
that I've been like this for a while, they're like, oh well, oh well, we can't have this because Kellen's not going to come and eat with us or anything. But
Hmm.
if we have something for her or something like that, and so people are my friends and family are a bit more accepting of things now too.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to have a little bit of that support, and
Yeah.
so that helped. I think one of the things that helped with that is that my youngest nephew was diagnosed with some food allergies and everything, and for him, it came out like in skin reactions. And so once kind of like my family kind of understood, of how food can affect you and everything, I think that's kind of where they like, okay, so maybe we might be giving Kelyn a little bit of a hard time with the way
Hmm.
she wants to live because, now my nephew, he's better whenever he eats real whole foods too. So,
Yeah, so they've had a personal experience themselves, and then that really made it a big difference. They could see it through their eyes, like firsthand, the power of what you eat. Yeah, I know it's interesting. The company I used to work for, where my husband still works, he and I would bring like these big salads. We'd do meal prep on the weekends. We'd make our lunches on the weekends. And we would have our big salad bowls. We'd pour the lettuce in, all the ingredients, have some protein on it with some olive oil and balsamic, and we'd be eating these big salads and with like avocados on them, and they're so good. Like they tasted so good. It wasn't just all a bunch of rabbit food. And people would walk in the kitchen and and be like, oh, there's Melissa and Scott eating their salads. And it was, in a way, they were like, the way it came across was like, they're just these health nuts, you know, all the while they were walking in with their bags of fast food that they drove down the street and just went to the drive-through. And I think a lot of it is, like you said, they just don't understand. They don't understand why you're doing it, and they don't understand the benefits of it. So, and yeah, so how did you overcome that? Because you mentioned, and I know this was a big challenge for me too, and it kind of is, it sometimes is, but like how did you handle like going to family dinners when you first started eating this way?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard because like I'm from South Louisiana, so we have good food.
Hmm.
And our
Yep.
food is not always the best. So I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't like super easy or anything like that. But like I'll give you Christmas for example. Like we'll have, a turkey. So that's pretty compliant because, they'll just season it with normal seasonings like I would. So it's not as if like there was like nothing for me to eat. There was always things like, okay, well, I can choose this, this, and this, but you know what? This is not so good for me. It's also not something I really care for. So it doesn't bother me if I don't eat it. And so actually that's kind of how I am today, that for things that I truly enjoy, that even though may not be strictly paleo or anything like that, um, if I indulge in it just a couple times a year, like at Christmas time, my mom makes a caramel roll, one of my favorite things that she ever makes, but she only makes it at Christmas time, you know?
Hmm.
So I will have a piece at Christmas time. But at the same time, is that, I don't care for rice dressing or do any of those other things. So it's like, all right, well, then I'm just not going to have those things. So I will be selective in what I will eat because I know now that if I eat certain things that I won't feel good. So I rather, pick things the one that are going to be the best for me and then I'm going to feel well. And if I choose something that maybe not feel so great, is going to at least be something that I enjoy. So if I just have a small piece of a caramel roll, I'm going to be fine. But if I eat that and then I eat all the other things that they have there too, like,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm not going to feel so well. So that's kind of how we navigate it, or at least how I navigate it around eating at home. And it's the funny thing is that when I say that I don't eat much different than what I did before, I mean that like the way I cook it is a little bit different. So I mostly do substitutions. So once I kind of started cooking a little bit with my substitutions for my family, they're like, oh my God, this is so good. I'm like, yeah, you just ate paleo and you didn't even know. So
Yes.
kind of did that. They started doing the same thing. And so it's not so challenging either for me
Hmm.
anymore. So it's much easier now to eat at home. But even like going to restaurants, down here or something like that. So I'll do it the same ways that I'll probably do the same thing like you, as eat like this big old salad, or maybe have some chicken or different other things. So it's not just loaded gumbos or stews or other
Hmm.
things that I may not feel so well afterwards.
Yeah, that's that that's pretty much what I do as well. And I also emphasize, like, when someone offers me something, um, like, I can't eat a lot of dairy, and I can eat a little bit at a time, but I can't go like multiple days eating even just a little bit. I
Same.
can, yeah, I could go a couple days just eating a little bit and then take a break for like a month or so, and then
Right.
I'm okay.
Mhm.
But it's really, yeah, like the dose that makes a big difference with me as well. So I recently, in the last couple of years, just started telling like my family and friends, like, you know what? If I eat that, I really don't feel good afterwards.
Mhm.
And now they know. In the beginning, it was really hard because they're like, oh my gosh, I got this comment from an aunt one like 10 years ago, like, oh my gosh, like you're so skinny. What happened to you? Like, is this Scott and I just started dating, like, did he make you do this? And I'm like, no, he didn't make me do anything. I'm healthier.
Yeah.
And anyways, it's just so interesting to me, our family's reactions. And that's the biggest challenge, the social aspect of this lifestyle is what I feel like one of the biggest challenges, because it's hard because we were also going to my in-laws' house pretty frequently too for dinner. And then when we'd go visit my parents, same thing. But now it's a little different. Now they kind of know, like, okay, Scott and Melissa don't eat a lot of bread. They eat it occasionally, but not a lot. And my sister will even be like, all right, I know when you eat XYZ, like you don't feel good. So when you come over, what can we have for you? Now they understand a little bit better.
Yeah, my family is respectful that way too. And it also helps because like my nephew and I, like, we can't eat some of the same things. So
Sure.
that does make it a little bit easier. But like if we are going out to dinner, they have me pick the restaurant, like, because we know that you're more sensitive for things. So
Yeah.
you pick a restaurant and everything. So so it's nicer that they are more understanding and, are respectful about what I choose to eat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It makes it so much easier. So, and also I feel like there's, some people don't want to start eating. And I just want to actually just clarify something is that paleo, like eating paleo, people say, oh, it's very restrictive. When the reality is you're actually just eating whole foods, which is what we should be doing, and which is what our bodies are designed to digest most efficiently. So we're actually giving our bodies what it actually wants. It doesn't want the high palatable processed foods.
Correct. Because like, like I said earlier, is that I can't have a lot of dairy or gluten or anything like that. But it doesn't mean that I won't have any pasta whatsoever, ever. I just might choose gluten-free pasta, but I also don't eat that every day. Kind of same thing with dairy is that I will try to choose like dairy-free things to make stuff. So it's really that even if I never heard of paleo at all, but I discovered I have these sensitivities, I would still have to eat that way. And so it truly isn't much different than before I discovered paleo. It's just more of making better whole food choices really for me.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so real quick before we move on, because I want to move on to like the exercise, talking a little bit more about exercise and just movement in general. But before we move on, what's your favorite, if you have one, your favorite paleo recipe?
Right now, I have two that I kind of put in rotation, probably once a month. One of them it's a lemon garlic shrimp, super easy to make.
That
Lemon
sounds so
juice,
good.
garlic shrimp, and like some vegetables. And actually, that's what I'll make tonight.
Oh, yay. Awesome.
So,
Cool.
yeah, so that one I really like because it's super, super, super tasty. And it's also pretty easy and quick to make. So on those busy nights where I might be getting home a little bit later, or like I really don't feel like cooking, but I have to eat something. That's something that's a really easy go-to meal. Second thing that is one of my favorites, my boyfriend and I's favorites, is chicken wings. So we will, I'll bake some chicken wings at 425 for about 40 minutes, flip halfway through, and then we explore different sauces, but the two that are our favorite right now is the Primal Kitchen Island Teriyaki and the buffalo sauce. Oh my goodness. So good.
Okay. Oh my
So
gosh.
good.
That's so weird okay, because Scott and I were just talking about there's this chicken wing place where we live that's really good, but we've been avoiding it lately because they fry the chicken wings. And I was like, and he's like, but they're so good. Like their chicken wings, the sauce on these chicken wings are amazing. And I was like, well, remember like a month ago we baked The chicken wings, I marinated them in the Primal Kitchen, no soy teriyaki. I can't remember if it was the regular or the island, but they're both fantastic. And then I just threw them in the oven, same thing like you did, 425, 40 minutes, flipping halfway through. Basically did the exact same thing you did, except for I marinated them. Oh my gosh, we inhaled those chicken wings so fast. Like we didn't eat all of them in one sitting because I made a lot of them to have leftovers. But oh my gosh, they're so good. But I next time we make those, I will have to try the buffalo sauce because I had totally forgotten about the Primal Kitchen buffalo sauce.
Yeah. So like in general, like I don't like a buffalo sauce flavor. I do not like it. But oh my goodness, they're just so good. Like I mean, of course it tastes like a buffalo sauce, but it's different and I truly do love it. That's probably my favorite. So, like I eat chicken wings just like everybody else. I just don't fry mine.
Yeah.
My mom sticks her chicken wings in the air fryer. I haven't tried it.
Mhm.
My air fryer is small, so it would take me like 40 minutes to do it. So I might as well just stick it in the oven. But like, so I still eat normal, but I just do it in a different way. I just may prepare it a little differently. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I also found that like I can taste the difference
So much
between
better.
like like a store-bought pie
Mm-hmm.
with
Yep.
like 5,000 ingredients in it that are half of them are probably made in a lab versus a freshly baked homemade pie, even if it has like a gluten, crust with gluten in it or maybe a little
Mm-hmm.
too much sugar, I could still taste the difference. I could still
Right.
taste the chemicals in the store-bought
Mm-hmm.
pie. It's amazing to me. So, but there are some meals like it's so easy to do. I feel like people just don't know how to do and they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, cool, awesome. So your lemon garlic shrimp with veggies and then your chicken wings. So cool, awesome. Okay, now I'm hungry. So,
We'll come over
uh,
tonight for dinner.
okay, I'll just get on a plane and fly right there.
Yep.
Might be a little late. So, okay, cool. So tell us a little bit about like, so you were doing CrossFit before. What's your exercise routine like now, and how do you benefit from it?
Yeah. So I don't do CrossFit anymore. I still love it.
Mhm.
I will say that I still do love CrossFit, but that's just not, it doesn't serve me the best right now. So I don't do CrossFit right now. Um, so since I'm a dental hygienist, during the day, that's my day job. I have a lot of like back issues kind of. So like right now, mostly is that I will do like Pilates to help me stretch and, stay mobile. So I'm doing a lot of that. And I like cycling. So we don't have really any trails around me for me to do outdoor cycling or anything. So I do go to the gym and I will cycle on one of their bikes. Um, Sometimes I do like doing a rowing machine, so I will do that as well too. But then I also just go outside and walk, just to be outside in nature and connect. And that's just kind of, I'll go for about 40 minutes, and that just kind of helps me to like refocus and clear my mind. So even though I don't know if I technically use that for exercise purpose or like therapy, I'm not quite sure what is that for, but so I'll kind of do a mix of that. And then Carrie Pierce, she kind of does like 10-minute workouts, and they're not really like CrossFit based, but she is a CrossFit person.
Mhm.
So she does like full body movements, and so she does like 10-minute exercises, and so maybe once or twice every couple of weeks I will do that too, just to kind of have some like high intensity movements. But right now, for the way my body feels, those movements don't
Mhm.
always serve me. So mostly just Pilates and sometimes cycling and rowing and walking. It's mostly what I do.
Awesome. Cool. I love that I feel like that's a great lesson too for a lot of people, especially if you're listening and you tend to kind of ignore your injuries and any pain in your body and just exercise anyways, which sometimes I tend to do. I'm guilty of that, and it takes a lot to sideline me because I don't like being sidelined from my fitness routine. I get really grumpy, and the energy in our house is not a good energy. And my husband like wants to go live somewhere else temporarily when that happens. But anyways, I love that because Pilates, I've only done Pilates once, and this was like 15 years ago. But from my recollection, it's a good strength workout too.
It can be. Absolutely. Yes.
So it can be. So it's gentle, isn't it? Pretty gentle. Like,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I love that you share that because so many people like they associate CrossFit with paleo. You know, the two kind of like, as we've already talked about before, they kind of go hand in hand. But you don't need to do an intense CrossFit workout 5 days a week, you know, to get the weight loss results, you know, to lean up. So even just simple activities like you do, like walking, you know, going to the gym and riding a bike, you know, cycling is a great one. Yeah. And just doing something simple, really listening to your body. Yeah.
So I'm hoping after a little bit more time with this type of exercise regime that I'm doing, just because, like I said in the beginning, is that for me, like exercise and fitness and everything, yeah, of course, it started out to be, you know, because I want to lose weight and I want to do all this kind of stuff. But for me, it's like, it's more of a just amazing is that to what your body can do. And so for me, it's that, and that I want that back again. And so that's probably what I miss more about taking more of an easier way of fitness right now is, but I want to go back to that. Oh, wow. You know what? Like I can do like, you know, deadlifts and, you know, bench press and, you know, there was a burpee challenge one time that I did. Can't stand burpees, by the way, but I'm like, that's like, you know, but it's like, I did it. So
Yeah.
I like that, to know that that's something that sounds, oh, that sounds horrible. And I don't know if I can do it, but, you know, just to have that motivation to do it. And what I also liked about the CrossFit community, at least in the boxes that I've been to, is that even though you may not be, you know, the CrossFit athlete or anything like that, and you may just be starting out, everybody supports you and everybody cheers you on, and everybody's like so happy in your success. You're not competing against other people. Everyone is there cheering you on. And I really enjoyed that. And so, you know, just to have that community, I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been to one CrossFit gym myself, but that's how it was too at the one that we went to. We had amazing coaches. And I've got to say, like, if you are like a health coach or fitness coach listening to this or whatever, like, and you've never experienced working with a health and fitness coach, go work with one, even if it's in a group setting, because it's incredibly powerful. Because I had never worked, not since I ran track in high school. That was the last time I actually worked officially with a coach. And so going to that CrossFit gym and actually having a coach me throughout my workout was a game changer, and having that support system. Yeah, everyone, you're competing against yourself. Like CrossFit's all about getting PRs, you know, your personal records, beating your personal record. So
Yeah, because, you know, and going to when I first started my fitness journey, when I was just at the gym by myself, I did have a personal trainer, and he was there, and, you know, we worked through things and showed me how to work out and all this kind of stuff. And, but, you know, like sometimes like I felt that I had to, you know, I don't want to say like earn my right to be there or anything like that, but like, you know, I had to earn it to where, you know, like the guys would let me cut in and, you know, work out there. And so I don't want to give it like a bad rap, because like I think like the gym community is important too. And, you know, for some people that is for them. But I felt like it was a bit more like clicks in a sense, you know, where it's like, you know, I just felt alone. And so whenever I started doing CrossFit, it was like, it was more community, even though I was working out and competing just for myself. That, yeah, if it was a time workout, you know, it didn't matter if I was first or last or anything, that it was just for me. But everybody was there to cheer each other on. And so for me, that's what is important. So like for our group settings is more important for me. And that may not be for everybody. And some people like the solitary of being in a gym alone. And, you know, sometimes when I am cycling, I just want to be by myself. But for me to get through tough workouts, it's important for me to have that group setting.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I'm a big fan of the group setting, especially the fitness setting, especially if you're new to fitness, you're new to the gym, you're new to lifting, like, and you want to,
Intimidating.
it can be intimidating. Yes, especially because you're right. It's kind of still in a way a male dominated, fitness activity, if you will. I mean, when I go to the gym in the morning, there's definitely so many more men there than there are women. There's maybe well, two of my girlfriends work out there through like 2, 3 days a week. So I see them there, and I see probably like 4 or 5 other women there when I'm working out there in like the weight training area. But it's definitely mostly at least 80% men. So yeah. So yeah, definitely if you want to get into the into a fitness routine, like find some workouts online, um, some fitness videos where the instructor doing like leading the workout will like encourage you throughout the video. So I invested in one like 10 years ago when I first started on my paleo journey. And Zuzka Light, she's um from Russia, I think, and she is so cool. I love her workout videos because she was always encouraging throughout the video. Even though she wasn't speaking to me personally, I felt like she was. Like I'm like, oh, Zuzka is cheering me on, just having that support system. Because honestly, even as an experienced like fitness goer, it's still hard. Sometimes it's still hard to get motivated, and especially when you're doing something new, you're really like pushing your comfort levels in the gym or with your exercise routine, whatever it is. It still can be a little like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could do this. So really having that encouragement there. And sometimes for me, just being around other women in the gym is inspiring enough for me. Like we don't have to speak, we just being in the presence of other women that are lifting and working on making themselves stronger is sometimes just what I need. So, yeah, awesome, cool. Um, is there anything else, like any challenges, any obstacles you have besides um, body aches, body pains, like that get in your way from, you know, creating a consistent exercise routine?
Yeah. So, I don't want to call it like really necessarily like a time issue. Is that like I know that if I set my alarm for 5:30, if I'm just tired and I decide to skip the workout, I'll be like, oh, I'll just do it whenever I get home from work. That's not happened. Like I said, 8 a.m. me is very different to 5 p.m. me. So, making sure that I have a good bedtime routine so I can sleep well, so I can wake up and do my workouts. So for me, um, I need a workout in the morning. Like if I just wait until the afternoon, too many other things can come up. Either,
Mhm.
I might be tired, or if I had a bad day, or if, my boyfriend and I decide that we want to just go out to dinner or something. So too many other things are going to come up for me. And, some people are like, well, you made that plan, you should be able to do it. And that is true. But for me, it's like, if there are other things that I want to do, I'm probably going to pick that. So,
Mhm.
to have a good nighttime routine so that way I sleep well and I can wake up and do that morning workout. So, I also notice a difference in my day between if I wake up, have a little bit of meditation, do my workout, and have a slower pace to get ready to go to work than if I wake up at 7, rushing out the door, rushing at work. And even if I do work out in the afternoon, like my whole day it feels rushed. And so whenever I can set up my day better, I just feel so much better. I'm more productive at work. It's a better day for me. And so, I guess that's kind of like sometimes a challenge for me is that, especially like soon, we're going through a time change. And so I don't sleep well at night. And so that's kind of something that I have to overcome is to make sure that, my nighttime routine is on point so I can work out in the morning.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to me that people will tell me like, "Oh, I'm not a morning person, but I just need to get up early. I just need to get up at 5:30." Like, how do I do that, Melissa? How do I get out of bed at 5:30? Okay, well, let's rewind. What were you doing 12 hours earlier?
Right. Mhm.
Like, once you get off work, what's your schedule like? What's your nighttime routine like? So I'm really happy that you brought that up because that's a big challenge for so many people out there, really just setting yourself up for success the night before. Well, and starting your day with something mellow, whether it be meditation, sitting in silence for 5 minutes, enjoying a cup of coffee or tea or doing a simple yoga routine, what works best for you. And I also love that you mentioned that, oh, I just can't work out after work. And if I get an invitation to go out to dinner, my boyfriend and I want to go out to dinner, I'm going to choose going out to dinner with my boyfriend. I'm going to choose a date night with him, right?
Absolutely. Like
Pretty
I'm only human.
obvious.
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, of course.
Right. And so really, yeah, knowing what I got from that is knowing how you operate. Like you know how you operate best and at an optimal level. And that's one thing that we do as health coaches. That's how we help our clients. We help them figure out what works best for them. So cool, awesome. Well, before we wrap up, would you like to share a little bit about kind of like how you work with clients, who you work with, where they could find you, just anything about that?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. So I help women with their gut health. So kind of going through like my journey and what my family has experienced is that, whenever we have this obstacle of like, okay, well, my gut's out of whack, it's like, it can be paralyzing. It's like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to eat. Like, you're just looking for answers. And so that's something that I've experienced personally in my life, and so has my family. And so I kind of help women overcome that, to kind of overcome those obstacles as to, not be paralyzed as to what to do, and to help them heal their gut themselves. So that's who I work with. So my business is Southern Primal. So you can find me at southernprimal.com or on Instagram at Southern Primal. Yeah, so feel free to follow and check out my website.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I just want to give Kelyn a big shout out because being friends with her, I'm talking about you in third person, sorry. Being friends with you, over the last 3 years, you know a lot. You're very well educated on how the body operates, specifically gut health, and I love that because there's so much research that's come out in recent years that prove that our overall health, physical and mental, our hormones being in balance, everything being dialed in starts in our gut.
Absolutely. Yes.
And yes, so if you're really like you don't know what's going on with you, you have unexplained weight gain, you have IBS, you have skin issues, don't I just want to be perfectly clear, don't take it all as like I'm getting older, I'm going through menopause, or it's just a way of life, it just happens, it's genetic.
Right.
Stop using those as excuses and get some help. And if you're reach out to Kelyn and see how she can help you, work through those challenges because she has been there, she's experienced it, so she can totally relate to your story, whatever that may be. So
And I completely understand because, I still have a daytime job as being a hygienist and I'm full time. So I understand being busy and trying to make the time to make healthier choices. And so, I've experienced, I still live it today. And so I can definitely help to figure out how to make those healthy choices, even with a busy schedule.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Cool, awesome. Okay, well, I have one more question for you. So, what's your definition of wellness abundance?
Wellness abundance. Oh, goodness. I love that. So, For me, is just when I can live my life to the fullest. And I know that sounds cliche or something like that, but to know that, I'm being intentional and that, like I said before, I'm living my life is not living me, and that I can live my life and, feel the best. And so for me, that's what wellness abundance means to me.
I love that. Yeah, I
Mhm.
love that. Being intentional and yeah, really just living your best life and taking control of it and designing it how you want it, how you vision it.
If we're going to be intentional with other relationships in our lives, then we should be intentional with our relationship with ourselves too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Totally. Yes. I think
Mhm.
that's a great note to end this on. So thank you, Kelyn, for joining me.
Having
And
me.
yeah, this was awesome. This is a fun conversation. As always, we always have fun conversations. So thanks so much. The Wellness Abundance podcast is sponsored by Wellness Abundance Coaching. At Wellness Abundance Coaching, we help women lose weight effortlessly and minimize anxiety with clarity, empowerment, and flexibility. We offer one-on-one and group health coaching, corporate wellness programs, and on-demand fitness videos. To learn more about how we can help you become the healthiest version of yourself and to schedule a time to chat with us, visit melissaking.net.